Hello guys, welcome back to another reaction video. This time we're gonna be reacting to what level is Ash's Pikachu Part 1. Now this will be two episodes. So this first one we'll do today, and then we'll react to the second part tomorrow. So without taking any longer, let's get into this video.
It's been 3 years since I undertook the mammoth task of calculating Ash's age. 2 videos that drove me insane with days of research, cross-referencing, watching the show, but it was definitely worth it. Pikachu! What do you mean, that was nothing? I ripped my hair out researching that episode.
Okay.
Oh, wait, is that it? I barely felt a tingle. You've traveled to 8 different regions at this point? Surely you have to be stronger than oh, that's what the episode's about, isn't it?
Yes!
Hello, Internet!
Okay, yeah, to be fair, Ash's Pikachu had a lot of power fluctuation throughout the entire anime. Right, from like gens 1 to 5, it's lost to a level of life Snivy, while it won against a Dragonite, which is like mid-50s.
Welcome to Game Theory, I guess? Yeah, it's another one of those what channel should this be on episodes. Anyway, back in 2018, I did a theory that nearly broke me. I wanted to figure out how old Ash Ketchum from the Pokemon anime really was. And if you watch
Okay, I should probably react to that video at some point.
that theory, you'd know that it took a toll on me. Days and weeks of solid research and writing with details hidden in the craziest of places. But alas, dear theorists, that was just the warm-up. Today we are going to be looking at the other biggest question people have about the Pokemon anime. What level is Ash's Pikachu? You see, what started me down this path was the first episode of Season 14, the start of the Pokemon Black and White or Best Wishes arc. In this episode, Ash challenges a trainer who's just received his first Pokemon from Professor Juniper, a Snivy. In this battle, Pikachu
Yeah, like I said earlier,
lands 1 hit on his opponent and receives 2 hits in return. But after the second hit, Pikachu faints. He just loses the battle. How? At this point, Ash and Pikachu have traveled to 5 different regions, earned themselves a total of 52 badges, and won against the toughest trainers, even literal gods. So that was it, friends. My theory brain went to work to figure out what level Pikachu would have to have been by the time he fought Snivy in that episode, to prove definitively that there was literally no way that he could possibly lose. And to do it, I had to sit down and watch the preceding 651 episodes of the anime and 13 movies, which, yes, are considered canon. I double-checked. I had to watch every single one, because guess what? All the battles that Pikachu appears in and makes a Pokemon faint in are not clearly marked off on any fan wiki in existence. Oh boy, this was a rough one. But I can tell you that my work was worth it, because what I found at the end of my anime binge was shocking, to say the least. Pikachu was nowhere near the level that I or anyone else in the fandom currently thinks he should be at. So what level is Pikachu? Our epic Pokemon journey starts now.
Wow.
So obviously the answer we reach today is going to be our best approximation of his level. The anime timeline and geography don't really line up with the games perfectly, and we all know that they don't totally follow the same rules as the games. Electric attacks won't work. Pikachu, go hard! Smart move. Right up.
yeah, that's total BS. That was total BS. If I, another total BS thing is Pikachu just smacking around Geodude with a single latch move.
As such, I needed to set some ground rules. We're only going
That's why I right on Hazard.
to be counting battles that we see on screen. Pikachu has had to have fought in the battle, and the opponent has had to have fainted, usually shown by big spirals across their eyes. Or they have to have been deemed unable to battle by a referee. We also won't be counting every time Team Rocket blasts off again. There are, however, occasions where Team Rocket's Pokemon are shown to clearly faint prior to their blast off, and so those will be counted. We also won't be considering moves used as a sign of Pikachu leveling up. This is because the names of moves are sometimes used interchangeably, especially in the early seasons of English dub. They also have a habit of giving Pokemon moves that they can't physically learn, like Charmander using Skull Bash, a move that the Charmander family can never learn, or Pikachu learning the move Volt Tackle, a move that can only be obtained through breeding and not learned naturally. Now, for this theory, we're going to be using the flat rate EXP equation from the games, hence why this is a game theory, where the amount of EXP you earn is based off of the following factors. If the opponent is wild or owned by a trainer, if the winning Pokemon is with its original trainer, the base experience yield of that specific Pokemon, if the Pokemon is holding a lucky egg, the level of the fainted Pokemon, if an EXP point power is active, if the Pokemon has an affection rating of 2 and above, and if the winning Pokemon is past the level it should evolve. All of that then gets multiplied together and divided by 7, multiplied by an amount based on if the EXP share is on, which leaves you with an equation that looks a little something like this. Section T, E, P, V, and S are all going to be set to 1, as Ash is Pikachu's original owner, and the other items are not seen to be used. Variable V was only implemented in Gen 6, which we're not getting to today because we're stopping our calculation at that particular Snivy fight.
Generation
Pikachu's
5.
affection, though, is an interesting one. It becomes 1.2 if the affection is above 2, which I believe happens around episode 30 onwards, as Pikachu there is shown to put aside his own feelings to help Ash get what he wants. So those are all the obvious and easy variables. The big challenge is figuring out the level of each and every losing Pokemon throughout every single one of the anime battles.
Jeez.
For the sake of the theory, we use 2 ways to calculate this. If the Pokemon is wild, I took the route that they were on, or at least the route they should be on based on which cities they're traveling between, and from there I looked at the highest level Pokemon and lowest level Pokemon that you can find on said route. From there, I simply took the median number, or middle number. For example, on Route 1, the highest level is 7, but the lowest is 2, so the median level for that route is 5. For any trainer battles, I instead used the mean level, or average level for that route, adding them all up and dividing by the number of trainers. The exception to this was when gym leaders or Team Rocket used Pokemon that their in-game counterparts also use, in which case I just used the level from that Pokemon directly. The final factor is that we'll be calculating Pikachu's level by taking his total experience and finding the cube root of that number. This is because Pikachu is part of the medium-fast EXP group, and so this is how the game calculates it. Alright, geez, enough table setting. Let's actually start the quest, shall we? Pikachu's adventure begins in the Kanto region, when Professor Oak gives him to Ash as his first Pokemon, meaning that we start with Pikachu at level 5, just like he does in Pokemon Yellow. In that first episode, Pikachu actually gets his first win, and it's an impressive one. Ash and Pikachu get chased by a flock of Spearow, which forces Pikachu to leap into the air and unleash an incredible thunder shock. Now, these Spearow would have been about level 5, considering that they're on Route 1. The most we see on screen at any given time is 46. So that right there gives us a nice healthy 1,905 EXP right off the bat, immediately jumping Pikachu to level 12 in the first episode alone. Things are looking good. Pikachu's victories after that first episode, though, become few and far between, beating Brock's Geodude, a wild Squirtle in episode 12, Lieutenant Surge's Raichu, a wild Grimer in episode 29, and a Trainer's Paris on episode 41. Though in this episode we're going to assume that Paris is level 5 due to the story.
Although they get that where it gets Geodude was pretty BS. Like I said, because it's a rock ground type. Ground is immune to electric.
Pointing out that he's particularly weak. What a pathetic Paris. At this point, we come to one of our first tricky calculations. Pikachu defeats Ash's Charmeleon in that same episode, episode 41, which on its own is fine, but Charmeleon only evolved the episode prior and will evolve again in just 2 episodes' time, not even appearing in the next episode. This means that we have very little to go off of what his level would be. So for the sake of simplicity, I'm just going to assume that he's now level 26, right in the middle of Charmeleon's 2 evolutionary points. After this, Pikachu wins against a wild Dodrio in a hospital in episode 44.
Again, is that actually wild? Are we going to be counting that?
First Team Rocket feint in episode 1 of season 2. Then there's Blaine's Rhydon and a return of Jesse's Arbok in episode 6. A few more uneventful battles before Pikachu has an incredible victory against 3 Pokemon at the start of the first movie. Then have a fight with...
Okay, yeah. But again, winning against a ground type. Like, how many times has this just Pikachu win against the ground type? Like, using an electric type attack. Leave it in the comments below.
Trainer's Marowak in Season 2, Episode 19, Pete's Arcanine in the 3rd round of the Pokemon League, Episode 22, and his final Kanto victory, Richie's Butterfree in the 4th round, Episode 25. So by the end of the Kanto region, Pikachu has won 21 battles, and by my calculations is now level 30, which makes his victories that much more impressive, considering by the 4th round of the Pokemon League, your opponents are supposed to be in their high 50s. lives. So, I guess Ash is either smarter than we think, or he's incredibly lucky. Either way, his luck soon runs out. He's defeated by Richie, and Ash and Pikachu head on over to the Orange Islands. And, yeah, this is where things go a little off the rails. See, the Orange Islands have never appeared in any Pokemon game. Why? Why couldn't I have picked a simpler episode? It's okay, Mad Pat. Remember what the therapist said? Breathe in, breathe out. It's okay. I'm good. Let's get to it. The closest thing I could find to the Orange Islands was the Sevi Islands, introduced in Fire Red and Leaf Green, which, fun fact, by the way, I never thought about this when I was actually playing the games, but it finally clicked as I was researching for this episode. Sevi, V-I-I, that's 7 in...
Yeah, in fact, we're currently on that section 2 in our Leaf Green playthrough.
Roman numerals, but it's also a pun. See, Sev is short for 7, and then the 2 I's at the end represent the 2 other islands. Mind explosion! Anyway, the Sevi Islands are located in a similar place on the wider world map, and they're basically the adventure after your main adventure in the Kanto region, so I'm guessing they're gonna have to do. Pikachu doesn't have many battles in the Orange Islands, but he does have himself a few wins. He beats Team Rocket's Arbok, Weezing, and Lickitung in Season 2, Episode 34, which would be similar levels to that of the Rocket Grunts that you find in the warehouse on Island 5. There's a wild Rhydon and Jesse's Arbok a second time in Season 2, Episode 48, and a Gym Leader's Marowak and Alakazam in Season 2, Episode 52, which I based off the Trainer Tower on a...
Seriously. Leave the number of times Ash's Pikachu, who, it's one against a ground type, like with an electric type attack. I'll immediately pin the comment.
Island 7. To finish it off, Ash challenges the champion of the Orange League, whose levels I was able to calculate from the Fire Red and Leaf Green League champion rival Blue, when you challenge him to a rematch after beating the Sevi Islands, making them all about level 73. Pikachu crushes it, beating both his Ditto and Dragonite in Season 2, Episode 55 and 56. Ash actually wins this battle entirely, and enters the Orange Island Hall of Fame, which, strangely enough, nobody ever seems to acknowledge. The show talks all about how the Orange League has trainers that are... whole lot tougher. And...
Oh my god. Yeah, in fact, like, the Orange Islands, like the Sevi Islands, is pretty forgettable. Well, and plus it's not like a per league. It's just one match. That's it.
Even though Ash wins, no one ever seems to remember it. Even in blogs outside of the show, he only got attention when he finally won the Alola League. Like, oh my gosh, Ash actually won something for a change. He won back in Season 2, guys. I mean, what does a guy gotta do to get some recognition around here? Your time will come, Ash. Your time will come. But before that, we got 3 more regions to plow through. At the end of the Orange Islands, Pikachu has amassed 35 levels. Oh, wait, really? Is that it? Are you taking down Pokemon that are twice as powerful? At this point, you might think that my pursuit's been wasted, as by my own logic, Pikachu shouldn't have been able to win those fights, but I'm not gonna let anime logic get in the way of my cold, hard calculations. That is, empirically speaking, what level he should be at based on all the fights he's done at this point in the series. So, we're carrying onward to the Johto arc, which brings around a shift in the way that the anime works. The first 2 seasons had 2 regions and 2 leagues, but in Johto we actually have 3 seasons just to complete that 1 league, meaning that there are way more battles per region along the way. So you would think that this is where Pikachu's level would start to climb faster, but there are 2 problems. First, Pikachu takes a bit of a back seat during the Johto arc to let Ash's shiny new Pokemon take the spotlight. Secondly, the start of a new canon region also means an interesting twist with regards to the game mechanics. The Pokemon levels within the region reset. Although at this point Pikachu is at level 35, the Pokemon in the early routes will be very low-level Pokemon, as you'd expect when you start a new game. The anime does make a point of this when Ash first arrives, showing that he's too overpowered, hence Pikachu taking a back seat and us saying goodbye to characters like Charizard and Squirtle early on. Now, instead of me just rattling off a bunch of battles, I'm gonna show you the list here. You can trust me, I watched them all. Some noteworthy things worth mentioning: Episode 41, Ash runs into the other Team Rocket, Cassidy and Biff.
The name is Butch. Can't you get anything right?
Sorry, Butch. So for these guys, I decided to take the grunts from the radio tower because it's the same city of Goldenrod, but also there's a striking resemblance between Cassidy and the female rocket grunt. Next, Pikachu has a run-in with Whitney's famous Miltank in Season 4, Episode 1, which he does defeat upon second try, much like I did back in the day. Stupid Miltank and your stupid rollout. But the big headache and calculations came from our old friends, the original Team Rocket. In Episode 33 of Season 4, Pikachu defeats Jesse's Arbok, and in episode 24 of season 5, he defeats James's Weezing. This is where the problems begin. See, these Pokemon are from the very first region, meaning that they must have grown since we last beat them on the Orange Islands at level 49. However, because the region reset, we can't take our usual levels from the surrounding trainers, as suddenly they'd be back to like level 20, which just isn't possible. So I had to make an educated guess as to what level they'd be. Assuming they're growing at a similar rate to Pikachu, I'd put them down as Arbok being level 55 and Weezing being level 60 at the time of their respective battles.
But if you don't agree with that methodology, it doesn't matter in the long run, which you'll see later.
As I mentioned, Pikachu was used a lot less in this region, only 21 winning battles, the same as Kanto, but spread out over 3 seasons. This gives Pikachu a current level of 40, only 5 levels more since we last left off in the Orange Islands, but at least now he's at a point where taking on Pokemon League opponents is at least a little bit more believable. And with that, it's time for a break. Seriously, this script is massive, and we're only halfway through all the episodes that I gotta cover. Plus, there's some really interesting problems that you and I have to talk about when it comes to the upcoming seasons, like proving whether or not Pikachu's level gets reset from the events in the series, and weird calculation quirks like the Battle Frontier. Trust me, I wanted to make this one episode. I tried to thin this down to fit into one episode, but there's just so much that I have to cover to get to this answer. It's actually a really hard topic. And hey, I watched 600 episodes and 13 movies to learn the answer to this one. All you have to do is watch 2 of our episodes to get it. So at least in my opinion, fair trade. Tune in next time as we reach our final answer. What?
Okay, so yeah, guys, we are going to watch part 2 tomorrow. So if you guys like this video, go down, like, subscribe, ring that bell. Oh, go subscribe to Game Theory, and see you guys in the next video.